Hello there folks, back again for another video. This one's a little bit of a short one. I've not necessarily had too much time this week, so kind of just putting some thoughts out there into the world about some of the new stuff that we've seen for the Middle-earth strategy battle game. On the 20th of November we got to see this brand new article from the Warhammer community team, which was showing off this new set of plastic models that are going to be coming out for the Dead Men of Dunharrow. Now these aren't kits that haven't existed before. They're not entirely new. We've already had the King of the Dead and the Heralds and the Warriors of the Dead for a little while. They've been out for a fair amount of time at this point. And people have been able to pick these up and have some fun with them. I know a lot of people really quite liked this upgrade to the King of the Dead, and especially the Banner Bearers and the Heralds as well. I think they did a really nice job on these to make them feel more animated, add in lots more detail, bring lots of things through for the King of the Dead that makes him felt a little bit more like the character that you see on the screen. A lot of people will remember this was the classic old model for the King of the Dead, which was a decent model in of itself, and I quite liked it. I have one of those myself, and I did a really nice base that had skulls all over the bottom of it, so it looked like he was sort of coming out of Dunharrow at the same time, which I thought was quite nice. But all in all, I think a lot of people were just really happy to see a plastic kit come out to kind of fill in some gaps and do something that clearly the sculpting team and the design team wanted to play around with in terms of its look and feel. And I think it was very well received, really. But the thing that is slightly different about these new plastic ones, and you will have seen these in the images if you saw this earlier in the week, is that they've been done with translucent plastic. Now, previous invisible kits or ghostly kits have been done by Forge World using their clear resin stuff, and this is the first time that we're really seeing this done on a scale when it comes to clear plastics and things. And I really like the little blue tinge that they've put into this to give that kind of ghostly effect. It's something that you don't necessarily need, but it could be a fun thing to dive into and have a crack at when it came to painting these models. As it stands, you've got the King of the Dead and the Heralds there that come in that translucent blue plastic, and then there's also the set of the Warriors of the Dead as well that are done in the same way. These aren't going to replace the existing plastic kits, so if you prefer those, you can still get access to them, or you could get these. As was pointed out in the live stream, Battle Streams in Middle-earth, why don't they just replace this, all the old ones with these ones? Because if you were going to paint them anyway in that normal way, you'd do all the undercoating regardless, and you'd cover up all the translucent elements and stuff. But I guess it's so that people have options, I suppose, when it comes to the models. Maybe these ones will be slightly more expensive. Who knows, I guess. But yeah, these are models that it should be really fun to have a crack at when it comes to painting, I think. Essentially, you just break these out of the box, glue them into the bases, and just have a go with a dry brush. You could go over it with whites and off-whites, and sort of bringing out some of those different tones. Depending on how heavy or light you go, you could make them feel slightly more spectral or less, and then you can obviously get that fade in as you go through from the top down to the bottom to really push that ghostly look, as they've done as part of these models, which I think is quite nice. With the Warriors of the Dead, it's a fairly easy one, I think. You start with a slightly off-white and then build it up to a lighter one. Throw in maybe a few metallic shades, maybe a little bit of green here and there, just to kind of sell it a little bit, or just be slightly lighter with the dry brush in particular areas, just to let that translucent plastic glow through effectively, where and when you want it. Maybe do a little bit more metallic work, in a little bit more detail on things like chainmail and weapons, if you really wanted to get that kind of things across, make it a little bit more detailed, heavier, that kind of stuff. The King of the Dead and the Heralds, you're probably going to be wanting to throw in a few more colours, some sort of sepias, some reds as well. You see that a little bit when you see the King of the Dead in the Peter Jackson film, where he has that ghostly feel to him, but there's also those sort of reds and greens flowing through his cloak and all that kind of stuff as well. So you can tinker around with a few more of those options and colours as you go. It'll be fascinating to see how people take to painting these as well, I guess, because as has been pointed out by others, these are models where if you mess up in any way, you can't go back to that base layer because you're going straight over the original plastic. So you just kind of have to make it up as you go and see if you can come out the other side okay, which I think is an interesting way of doing things. It's certainly one of those kits that will either frustrate people or make them very, very happy. I'm not sure there's any happy medium in that regard. I'm sure there is somewhere on the internet, but there we go. Either way, though, I think these are really nice, and it's good to see them coming along to help support the Middle-earth strategy battle game, show that things are still going on, and keeping people in the know when it comes to sort of like where things are going with the way that they want to do things. Clearly, they have little fun ideas about what they want to tinker with in terms of releases. This one feels like it was one of those sets that was meant to have come out after the Battle of Osgiliath set came out. So I could have seen the Battle of Osgiliath starter set coming out, people diving in and getting involved with the Two Towers, Return of the King, that kind of stuff. And then from there, I could have seen them drop a few more releases, so maybe do a few more Return of the King style things, just to support that and help follow through into this year, which is obviously the anniversary of the movies and things like that as well, which would have been nice, I guess. And they are doing that to some degree, just not necessarily to the scale that I'm sure a lot of people would have liked, I guess. But yeah, it's nice to see them out regardless. I'm always happy to see releases. As I said in my previous video about kind of the future of MESBG, I think I'm on the side of a lot of people where it's like, it would be really nice to see new stuff like Khazad-dûm and Arnor and that kind of thing, but I'm kind of happy with where things are at the moment. I can still go back and pick up models that I missed out on when I was younger, and sort of add them to my collection and stuff. I've got a couple of the Heroes of the West models coming. I'm going to save Aragorn. He's going to be saved for a new Battle Streams of Middle-earth stream in the future. But the Heroes of the West Gimli is going to be added to my Khazad-dûm force, my Moria force, which will be a really nice little addition because I love that model. Never had it before, so it's a good opportunity to paint that and have some fun on that front. When it comes to the Dead Men of Dunharrow, I mean, the core of the army is still there. If you're one of those people who really wanted a banner bearer, well, you've still got the heralds that you can use in place of that, which is always good. The Riders of the Dead, who knows what's going to happen with them? I think they're fairly stuck in limbo unless Games Workshop have decided that they want to throw something new and different into the mix to kind of help build that out at some point. I think you're probably stuck on that front. You're most likely going to be getting the Warriors of the Dead and the King of the Dead and his heralds, and using them in an alliance alongside Aragorn and some of his own soldiers from Minas Tirith and that kind of stuff, probably in the future. So yeah, pardon me. Oh. This was an interesting one. Beg your pardon for that. This has been a little bit of an interesting one when it comes to releases for the Middle-earth strategy bout game, and hopefully it's a sign of things to come, I suppose. It's better than nothing, which is always good. And at least the team at Games Workshop are still doing things like this, where they're doing highlight articles, showcasing stuff that's going off in the community. They're still engaging in things like Facebook groups and stuff like that, which is always good to see. And, you know, the quality of the stuff that comes out of the painters and the hobbyists that work in the middle strategy battle game sphere and this kind of little corner of the world is just phenomenal. And they really do make these models, both old and new, look brilliant. And it's good to see that there are still people out there fighting the good fight when it comes to Middle-earth and the game itself. It'll be interesting to see where they go from here. Will we see more of this backlog suddenly unleashed? Is this one of these sort of special cases that because it was based on an existing kit, there was nothing that needed referencing, so this was something that could easily go out? Who knows? But maybe with this out there in the wild, the licensing issues have been solved. They will never tell us, obviously. But now hopefully these licensing issues have been solved, and this will be sort of appearing in web stores and local retailers fairly, very soon when it comes to pre-orders. Maybe this weekend, in fact. And next year could be a big year. I really hope it is. I think I've been up too late doing hobby. I've been painting. The reason I'm so tired is because I've been painting Flowy Stonehand until like 12 o'clock at night and stuff like that. But anyway, we'll get to that in a future video. How terribly unprofessional of me. But yes, I think these look great. and I'm glad they exist, and I will definitely be picking some up. I never thought that I needed a King of the Dead and Heralds and some Warriors of the Dead, but I guess I'm going to spend the money to get these and have some fun playing around with them. If nothing else, it's great to just show them off on the channel and tell you what I think of them as well, I suppose. Always use your local retailer if you can, because you'll save some money, which is always nice. But yeah, what do you think of these? Do you like the idea that we're getting this new set? Do you think it was one of these that was waiting in the wings to follow on from the Battle of Osgiliath, and it never really sort of came out on time, and it's sort of now been pushed out the door because they've finally been allowed to do something? Do you think it's a herald, of things to come in the near future? Are we going to see more in 2024? Make sure to go and check out that old video that I did last week or a couple of weeks ago, where I talked a little bit more about the future of MESBG and where I think it could go. And yeah, just in general, tell me what you're up to in the comments when it comes to hobby and all that good stuff. I'm going to move on and get thinking about another video. I have been looking back at this, and you may remember that not too long ago, or actually quite long ago now, I suppose, I did a little battle report where I played out the first of the scenarios, which was the Orcs across the Anduin scenario from the Battle of Osgiliath set. I think I'm going to try and sit down and see if I can film the ambush scenario 2, and fill in some of the blanks when it comes to the battle report that I didn't quite get right when it came to the first one. And it could just be a little bit of fun and something a little bit different for the channel. As I say, once in a blue moon, but hopefully I can get that sorted out at some point in the near future. We shall see. I've said it now, so it's got to happen, I guess. Oh well. But yes, I'm going to move on, get stuck into another video. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, do all that good stuff. But more importantly, just get involved in the comments and tell me what you think of these and everything else going on in the world of MESBG at the moment. And I'll be back very, very shortly with another video. Bye for now.